Our success, individual success, is everybody's success. Our problems are everybody else's. And the interesting part from the research is you, as a witness, are seen as more credible than the target. So you can actually help somebody out who's on the receiving end of it by sharing your observations with other people in the organization who are potentially in a position to do something. And it's a part of your job. As a chair, it's seen as part of my job. It's seen as part of Ron's job. I'm going to move past that one and just... we go to the bystander literature. There's an extensive literature on bystanders, what they do, why they do things, why they don't do things, all of that stuff. That was done in the 60s and 70s, some really wonderful work, Darley and Latine. It went quiet for quite a while, and it's now coming back, because we discovered that they know a lot, and we probably want to draw on. The ally literature, too, how people ally with each other to support disempowered people is useful. What we know is that there are 5 decisions people make, observers make. One is what I'm seeing, in this case, negative, disrespectful, or hostile? Is this a bad behavior? So I've shown you some examples of that, so that might help you out. Is this egregious enough? Is it an emergency? Does it require me to move quickly? Is it my responsibility to do it? Part of what I want to convince you about and what I do in trainings is saying, yeah, I think you have some responsibility. You're part of a community. You see things happen. How do I do it? What do I do? And that's the challenge when we do training with people on it and then taking the action. So let me just show you. There are 2 decisions we know that people make. There's lots of decisions observers make. So they've decided, okay, it's a problem, it's egregious enough, I think I should do something about it. What am I going to do? So there's 2 decisions people make. One is they decide on their level of involvement, with the willingness to take action publicly, the degree to which you'll take it publicly. So it can range from not doing anything at all, which actually is an action, to putting yourself into the episode itself. What many people think about when we talk to them about doing something, when they see it happen, they think there's only 2 choices. There's only one choice, I should say. Either I do nothing, or I get in that person's face. And getting in somebody's face is a pretty risky behavior. But look at the gap between those 2 options. And that's what we focus on when we do our kind of training. So we're helping people figure out. The other thing is, do I do it now, in the current situation as it's happening, or do I address it later? And this comes out of some really cool work in sexual harassment, observers of sexual harassment. And let me just put, so that creates a lovely 2x2. Those of us who deal with numbers love 2x2s and numbers. And let me just put this up there for your consideration. This is the last slide. So if it's low immediate, which means I'm not going to get involved in this current situation. I'm going to deal with it later on. But I am going to do it somewhat publicly. It's going to be important for me to be recognized as making that. You could take it to administration. In the case of a chair, you take it to the chair and say, did you know about the situation that happened in a meeting? You could go with the person to report it. So somebody brings the other faculty member into my office and says, this is what happened. You could confront the person, and confront broadly speaking, not confront like this, but go directly and talk to the actor. I think there's a really interesting training idea that's come out of healthcare, which they call the cup of coffee conversation. And they actually train their colleagues. This isn't a medical school. They actually train their colleagues in a hospital, train their colleagues, same level colleagues, in how you talk to another person about their behavior. And you invite them out for a cup of coffee to have an informal action, an informal conversation. Really cool stuff. And the data about how well it's working is pretty phenomenal. Let me see, what would be some other ones? High immediate, high involvement. I got to deal with it now, and I just have to be out there. So you got lots of choices. You can tell the actor to stop it. Jim, stop interrupting. You've been doing that 3 times, and I can't get my thought. She can't get her thoughts out. I also talk to people about making sure they talk about their experience of it. Your behavior in that meeting, different examples of it, affected my ability to attend to what was happening because I was so amazed, stunned, distracted by what you were doing. That, not about the target, but it's about me. Get others to engage in it. Now this is where we want to be careful about that mobbing piece, because then people can start to do that. But how about, I got to do something, but I don't really want to put myself, out there. Which can be a favorite strategy amongst faculty. Faculty as a group tend to be conflict averse. So anything we can give them, redirect the actor. One of my favorite examples was someone seeing somebody berating somebody else in the hallway, and you come along and you say to the person who's being berated, hey Dan, what about that meeting we're supposed to be? Come on, let's go. I've broken the interaction that moment, I got the person out of there. That will give me some space and them some space to figure out what else we can do. I love this one. The use of body language to show disapproval. Anybody who is a parent knows how to do this, right? Anybody who's a parent knows how to do this. It can be very powerful with our colleagues. And certainly we do it in a disrespectful way when someone's talking and we're going, rolling your eyes. But you try that kind of silent communication to somebody, which potentially could cue them. They need to step back a moment, take a deep breath, let's figure out what's going on, and then you may want to go talk to them afterwards about it. Another one is a different strategy about affirming the target. And I did that in a meeting one time a few years back where somebody was constantly being, well, actually the entire faculty kind of went after this person and said it was a stupid idea. They really said stuff like that. And I looked at the person and I said, actually, I'd like to hear a little bit more because I found it kind of intriguing. So I didn't take on my colleagues who were doing that. I created a space for the target to be able to open up, the person to be able to talk.
Well,
and speaking of nonverbals, but hopefully not silent disapproval.
We really, no, I hate to stop, but we've run over. We really thank you for the stimulating talk and the questions.
Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you very much. Thank you for
Thanks
coming.
for the opportunity.
Yeah.
This was great. It'd be interesting to have a talk like this on intervention. I mean, this was great.
Absolutely.
But
this is the lead up, and so then the whole thing is, what do we do?
Yeah, this is great. Thank you very much.
I'd be happy to have a conversation.
Thank you.
We've actually been doing, I've been doing some work with the University of Michigan. They've been doing some really interesting stuff, and Ron knows about it. And so I'm not selling out real estate, but with University of Michigan, we've been working with them on peer action circles. So the notion about how